It's gotta be against the law to look this damn good. Watch out now. Cause baby, I feel real good and I wish I would. Watch out now. It's gotta be against the law to look this damn good. Watch out now. Everybody watch out. Watch out now. I'm ready for a good time and I came to groove. The whole band's here and we came to move.
Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Business Over Beer podcast. I am your host, Ben Surratt, and today I am in Green Bay, Wisconsin. I'm at Copper State Brewing with Jon and Missy. Actually, guys, say hi first.
Hello.
Sorry.
Good morning.
Yeah, it's morning. It's
good
o'clock.
afternoon.
Yeah. Or whenever you're listening or watching, if you are listening and watching. So, first of all, just highlight high level who you are and where you are in Green Bay area. Just and a little bit about Copper State Brewing. High level.
Go ahead. All right. It's to me, I guess.
You start.
Yeah.
We are Jon and Missy, Copper State Brewing. We are downtown Green Bay, right next to the river. We've been here for just turned 8 this year, which is crazy to think. Watched our kids grow up in the business here. When we started, they were real little, and now they're graduating. So that's kind of wild. Copper State, yeah, we started with a large group of family and friends, and over the years, it's now just the two of us. So it's watched the business and the industry kind of morph and change, and had to adjust to some of that. So we're not the only ones.
Oh yeah. So Missy and I were talking. We actually met during COVID in 2020, I think. Yeah. Right. Mm-hmm. And I think it was mutual. Who?
Through Caleb.
Caleb. That's right.
Through our designer of some of our cans.
Yeah. And you were doing toast for, what was it again?
Yeah, we called it hashtag Toast Positive.
Toast Positive, and I love that. That was an amazing.
Spread some fun joy online.
I mean,
did some fun videos and.
So what has changed since we first met in 2020 to now? Have you guys just what's been different? How has it grown?
Yeah, I would say I think the ownership structure is probably the biggest change since we last chatted. Like Jon alluded to, we had a whole big group at the beginning, and just naturally ended up being me and Jon, and we ended up buying out the rest of our partners. We were trying to do it before COVID or right during COVID, and then all the banks pulled back during COVID, and so then it was a little after that that it actually happened. But now it's all ours, which is kind of fun.
We don't have a pandemic anymore. I mean, that's a big change, right?
Don't have a pandemic. Yeah, staffing is much more stable.
I was going to ask about
our
that.
lives are much more balanced.
Yeah.
So that's been great. We've gotten to a really good spot where we enjoy it a lot more.
Yeah, I bet.
It's not quite as hard.
Did you guys learn anything from, did you guys, everybody had to pivot during that time. And I don't want to stay on COVID much, but that's when we really met. But everybody had to pivot. And some people took things away from that they implemented in their business. Did you do that, or did you how did that work for you guys?
We were in the process of simplifying our menus and things like that over the years. We started more mid to upper mid tier on our gastropub type food.
Okay.
Had a chef, and the food was amazing.
Yeah.
But as staffing got difficult, we had to make sure that we could throw on an apron and make everything that was on the menu. So we pivoted a little bit, simplified. People wanted to highlight we wanted to highlight our beer, so get what pairs well with beer.
Yeah.
Wood-fired pizzas, wood-fired burgers, simple sandwiches, hot sandwiches.
Good appetizers.
So Brussels sprouts, who could forget the Brussels sprouts? Tried to get rid of those once, and
become very well known for
just
our Brussels sprouts.
Really?
Had our customers, lynch us. Yeah. So, so the menu. Once COVID hit, that was probably a real hard push for us to. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm working 80 to 100 hours a week. I don't want to do this forever. So let's. How can we simplify that?
Yeah. So for people who don't know, you also have coffee. Like, what came first, the coffee or the beer?
It all kind of started at the same time.
Okay.
My sister and brother-in-law own a couple coffee shops in Appleton. They were the ones that first saw this building and were part of the ownership at the beginning. Had wanted to put a coffee shop in this building, but then knew the whole building should still be used as a brewery and a restaurant. So that's when they called us. We were living in the Twin Cities at the time. John was a mechanical engineer, had brewed 0 batches of beer in his life.
I remember that. That's right.
And my brother-in-law just said, John, you should be a brewmaster. And we're like, yeah.
And it truly was. It was 2 businesses when we started. So
Yeah.
they had their coffee shop, and we had the brewery in the same building. And then within 6 months, we just figured out it's too confusing for
Brand.
customers. Yeah, brand confusion.
Yeah.
So we simplified everything, brought it under the brewery umbrella.
So,
so we-
when your brother came to you, was like, "Hey, man, you should start brewing beer." Were you like, "Okay," or "Why," or what was your initial reaction to that?
I think it was, yeah, I could figure that out.
Yeah, it was. We were in
We're
the
sitting in
middle
the
of...
van in the driveway as I'm talking to him on the phone. I remember this because I'm looking over at her. She's like, just bear with me,
We were
me.
just finishing up this huge patio project at our house that John was creating or making the backyard, this beautiful oasis. And I remember sitting down like going, we're going to move, aren't we? Okay. All right.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. I think it was the draw of small business ownership, doing my own thing, doing it with fun people, right?
Yeah. The adventure,
So
the opportunity.
I love learning new things and the challenge of,
Yeah.
like, I have no idea how to do this. I've never done it before. All right, let's do it.
Yeah.
Right, so
And there is a lot of engineering involved. He probably does more engineering
sure.
here than he did at his previous engineering job.
Yeah.
So,
And coming up with different recipes, but let's talk about the beer. So, what are you drinking, and then what are Tiernan and I drinking right now? Tiernan is my producer, and also my nephew. Say hi. Okay, you can't see him, but you can hear him. Anyway, so what
he's
are
a handsome man. I mean,
good-looking kid?
yeah, yeah.
So, what are you two drinking, and what are we drinking?
We are drinking. We drink at dawn. It is a beer mosa, sour, pineapple, mango,
blood orange.
Blood orange.
It's delicious.
Yeah.
You can try it if you want.
I'll try some
All right.
later.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
It's a
It's a morning beer.
It's a very light Rodler style. Like, you could go for a 30-mile bike ride and have one of these and it'd be great. Or you could drink it in the morning and not feel bad about it.
That's what we call it. We drink at
So,
dawn.
and you guys are drinking our latest rendition of a session IPA that we brewed called Garden Party. And also,
As in beer garden.
yep, also was
Gotcha.
inspired by some cyclist customers that we had come in. They wanted something light and hoppy, but not like too super crushable, so that they could
That
drink
is
it
super
after.
crushable.
Yeah, so
Holy
that's
cow.
what we came up with. So we actually just canned that one for the first time this spring, so we're kind of excited to release that out into the wild. The can
that's
design was really fun too, so
Yeah.
I probably should have brought one of those to put it right there.
Yeah. When it comes to your beer, how do you get your inspiration? Is it just something that you think of, like, oh, that might be good? Or do you like, okay, here's my styles and I want to try this or adjust this? Where do you get your inspiration from?
It depends on the beer. Sour stuff, I'll try and find a flavor profile that matches a food that I like. On the IPAs, we might be messing with a new hop, or we're trying to, do we want a session or do we want West Coast, Midwest Coast, somewhere in the middle? But typically the market has been moving towards less alcohol.
Yeah.
So, which is fine by me, right? If I can have a beer and not feel like I need to sit down and take a nap,
Yeah.
that's okay.
That's a good point.
And at the same time, we still have our, faithful double IPA. Well, we'll probably always have one on
Yeah.
tap for
Yeah.
that person that really likes that style, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah, and so we have a group of those that rotate through. We have a group of these. The sours rotate through in the summer. We try and keep one barrel-aged beer on tap for the dark barrel-aged fan.
Awesome.
And we do have, I mean, I might be biased, but I really think our barrel age program is pretty outstanding. So, courtesy of some influence from Simon when he was here, who used to work at Central Waters, and brought some of that tradition of their barrel aging program here. And we had a barrel aging program before, but he really dialed it in for us. So
That's awesome.
So,
talk a little bit about the location and the community around you. So you talk about the people that you serve and all that. How has that changed much or grown? Or talk about just the community around you and the people that you serve.
Yeah, I don't know if it's changed a ton since the beginning, but it's just gotten to be more solid regulars. We have a ton of regulars. So I think since we have the coffee shop in the morning, we have a lot of the business crowd in downtown Green Bay that comes here for business meetings, et cetera, and then they stay for lunch, or they rent a space and have a whole business day here or whatever. And then that does translate into our crowd for the evening, too. We're not like the hipster brewery. We're the family-friendly, like,
Yeah,
and we have
100%,
good food,
yep.
and we have solid staff, and yeah. So I think it's a lot of solid regulars. We have a great community around here. There's always different groups. There's groups of Bible study people meeting. There's book clubs. There's the business crowd, the banking
Moms groups,
guys,
yeah.
moms groups. Yeah, we homeschool our kids, so we have a big homeschool contingency that comes in
Oh, I
here.
bet. Yeah. You have a great beer garden, too.
Yeah.
Like, that is beautiful. Was that there, or was that no? So who came up with that? Like, was it just kind of organically just like, you know what would be cool to have a beer garden?
we decided that was early on, that was, even before we opened, that was a necessary thing. So we were going to expand, push the building out initially, and some hiccups with the city as to.
It has to be a movable structure.
So
It's
so that's we got that approved. So, yep.
City.
You pivot, you do what you got to do.
The red
right?
tape.
So we got that added. It's about 80 to 100 seats. So in the summertime, we'll close down the area where we're sitting right now, except for if we have a rainy day or something like that. We'll bring everybody up here instead. But in order for our kitchen to be able to serve everybody well, we had to manage how many butts and seats we could have at
Yeah.
one time.
Yeah.
So,
And we did just add all those fire pits out there and some heaters and stuff. That was just this last year that we did that. So we've been slowly improving.
Yeah. I mean, has the community grown, like, just in general? Has it, or how is it, the population? Has it grown since you first started, or stayed the same?
I think Green Bay is growing, and it's definitely they're trying to bring more people downtown. They've been building more apartment buildings down here and revitalizing this downtown area. So that's been kind of neat to see and to be a part of the growth down here. Some projects got a little waylaid during COVID, but they're back on track, I think. And
yeah, they just opened 250 apartments behind us. So the rail yard project over there, the big gray
Okay.
brick building. Behind that, there's some more, I think another 180 units or something like that.
Wow.
Open
they're working on like a
public market.
public market across the street from us here that's going to have a bunch of indoor vendors, like a Milwaukee public market.
Holy cow, that's going to be awesome.
So there's cool stuff coming.
Yeah.
downtown.
Farmers markets on Wednesdays have really grown. I think when we started, I mean, it was.
Yeah, it brings 10 to
It brought some
15,000
people, but now
people
it's 10
down
to 15,000
to this road
people
on
every
Wednesday
Wednesday.
nights.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And so how far are you from Lambeau Field?
About 5 minutes. Yeah.
5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Far enough to not be affected by, like,
Yeah.
we'll
Sunday,
get busy on a Packer Saturday, but
people in
Sundays,
town.
everyone's by the stadium.
Okay. Was the
downtown is
draft
empty.
crazy, though? Or not really?
Not
No?
really. No.
It was okay.
Yeah. And I would say that was the general sentiment. Like, if you were within a block of the stadium, you saw the crowds, and if you were more than that, maybe not so much.
Wow.
Yeah.
So,
The Friday that it got rainy,
Oh, that's right.
we were busy that day. We were slammed that day. But
Because
other
they were
than
like,
that-
what's going on?
Right.
What is there else to do around here? So, okay, I get it. So talk about your team and the changes. So I'll go back to 2020 a little bit. You talked about how hiring was struggle for everybody. How did you adapt, and how has that changed your leadership, or has that not changed? Has it been the same?
It's definitely changed. I would say pre-COVID, and I think part of it because we had no restaurant experience. So we were thinking like we have to hire this executive chef. We have to let them run the kitchen, and kind of give them more ownership over the kitchen. We didn't have as much place in there at that time because we did feel like we didn't really have the experience to do that. And then COVID happened and staffing got really hard, and we had to make some big decisions about what our kitchen looked like. Our kids got a little older. We started working a lot more in the kitchen. We used to actually have, I think the summer after COVID, we were having what we called Martin's Mondays so that we could give our staff a whole nother day off, and it was just our family cooking and serving and stuff in the kitchen.
Oh, wow.
And
Pizzas
that was,
and salads, I think, was all
right,
we
yeah,
did.
we limited
Wow.
the menu, but it was crazy. Like,
And they got
okay,
really
here we
popular.
go.
We're like, oh my goodness, what have we done?
Sorry, kids. But then shortly thereafter, again, that was when we did a little menu revamp and made it more simple. And then our kids got old enough to have a bunch of homeschool friends, and we started hiring just a younger, definitely more inexperienced, but trainable, and they show up
very
and they have
hardworking.
great attitudes. And our kitchen has been it's been such a joy.
Yeah.
So I think now it comes down to leadership of it's education issues versus attitude issues. So now it's just making sure we do have a great kitchen manager who trains them up. We have but our kitchen is young, and they work their tails off and they learn, and so
Yeah.
it's much more like education now, and that's the leadership style, like guidance but enjoying working with a younger staff.
Does having your family and that family focus help you with your leadership? Does that flow naturally? Like, you two really care. I mean, you love your children, obviously, but having them a part of your business, does that translate into your leadership and the way you handle your employees? You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure. It's parenting, but 45 kids.
Yeah. You got 45 employees?
Yeah, right around there. So,
Stop it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The coffee shop, the brewery, the restaurant.
That's incredible.
So it is. It's very much like parenting. You're still solving sibling disputes, and
Oh, yeah.
Sibling disputes.
and they want leadership and guidance. As
Yeah.
much as
Oh,
much as
sure.
you rail against the man, you do want someone
Yeah.
to be that leader. And I think we've learned a ton about being that. I'm definitely still a middle kid, and I like people to like me, but we've gotten to have you just have to figure out how to deal with conflict and how to nip it in the bud before it becomes a bigger issue, and to be better about getting rid of toxic attitudes before it seeps into the rest of the staff. And yeah, it's
Big time.
it's been a big learning curve on that for
Yeah.
sure.
And it's a lot of self-reflecting and saying, I'm with you. I'm a people pleaser too, but as a business owner, you have to be strong, and you have to have your systems in place, and that's what we follow. And sorry, if you go outside those rules, you're just not part of the team. So I give you kudos for that. That's hard a lot of people can't do that, but it's a necessity. So let's talk a little bit more about the community and the building itself. So how old is this building compared to the community? Is it part of, just talk about that, I guess.
Yeah, it's been around since 1919. Was Swift Meat Packing when it first opened, was built. So if you look around, everything is heavy duty, thick concrete. You can still
Yep.
see evidence of where they hung the meat and swung it through the
No
building.
way.
Yeah.
We cleaned up. It doubled as a fallout shelter in the 50s, actually.
Did it
because
really?
it's
Signs are
this
still up
big
in the stairwells.
concrete
yeah.
structure.
That's cool.
It's the safest place to be in a storm. So
That's cool.
So at one point in time, my understanding is that there were railroad tracks on either side of the river, and there's this weird thing in Green Bay. You're on the east side of the river, west side of the river.
the
I don't
river
go
is a
that-
giant chasm.
right? People don't cross the river for some reason. Like you're
Oh, you guys
100
aren't
yards
like that.
away. You could just walk here for lunch. But
It's all relative.
So that's a interesting quirk about Green Bay. But yeah, apparently there were banks on either side of the river that serviced the customers and 2 railroads that, yeah. So fascinating part of that. And then I think when the cannery was open as a canning company, the building next to us actually went up before this one, and there's only about 2 to 4 inches between the 2 buildings. So it looks like one building. Right, if you're standing outside, you're like, oh, it's just one block. No, there's 2, and you can see when they renovated that a couple years ago, and there were window wells, and the brick wall is right. Can you imagine living in that apartment and all of a sudden like, a building's going up? You're like, wait, that was my river view. So, yeah, so there's a lot of history down here. We inherit a lot of the character of this building. Right, it's got a lot of cool nooks and crannies where you can get a different vibe from upstairs versus down in the fireplace room versus lively by the bar downstairs. So you can pick and choose what you want. Tuesday nights we have live jazz. In the summer it's in the beer garden, but in the wintertime it's all up here. Yeah. So that's an awesome vibe. So that's kind of the history of the building. The community itself, I mean, last year we had somebody drive into our building.
Oh, that's right.
Missed the turn.
He really wanted the beer.
Drove right into the brew house.
Or the coffee.
Yeah. And what was awesome was, I mean, people found out about it very quickly, and we had all sorts of our customers. Can we help you? Do you need us to come down, help us clean up?
Like even
help
that
board
night
up?
at
That
midnight,
night,
we had people walking. Like, what can we help with?
Just a testament to the community here, right? People give you the shirt off their back.
Yeah.
And we're willing to help you with anything, right? So it's fun to be part of that.
Yeah.
So.
I think our whole family has been a part of it. Like we've not had a ton of other roots in any other city that we've lived in. We've moved a lot before we settled here, and so this has been the first place we're like really building roots, and it's been cool. We'll have customers that come in that see our kids after another couple months, like, wow, they've really grown. I remember when they were this big, you know, like, so it is a whole big family for sure.
This is a different question. How did you balance homeschooling and having your own business? Because that seems like, I mean, how did you do it?
Yeah, some days well and some days not well, I think.
You got to give yourself a lot of grace.
Yeah. And you have to realize that the school system that is now put into place there's a lot of time wasted in a regular school day. I was a teacher in the regular school system for a couple years before I had kids.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So I knew, like, you have to be teaching to the median of the class. There's so much transition time. There's so much, so to do a school at home is not nearly as long of a process, and there's a lot of independent stuff, especially now. Like we have 3 in high school this year that we're doing some online stuff now and a lot more independent learning, so it's a lot less time consuming. And yet at the same time, like, just doing like natural learning in a business and knowing how valuable that was, and giving myself grace, like, okay, maybe they did 2 math lessons this whole week, but they're helping with payroll and keg inventory and canning and learning the science.
Looking at a P&L, right? Like, I know the ins and outs of the business.
Yeah. Right. Like when our 9-year-old, we had to take the malt auger apart one time because it got wet, and he could see it, and we're like explaining like what the auger does, and he goes, "Oh, like an Archimedes screw?" I'm like, "Okay, we're doing all right."
What?
I'm like, yes, it is an Archimedes screw.
Nerd. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I mean,
So they're doing
good job,
okay.
son.
That's awesome, though. Wow.
Yeah.
So some days it's math at the bar next to me while I'm doing payroll, and you know, I can help as necessary. And then I do try to now, like, and for the past few years, with the balance that we've gotten, I do at least one day during the week that we're home, and we do all the home stuff that we need to do. And a lot of the other stuff is portable and can be worked on while I'm working on stuff, and during the morning hours when I'm sipping coffee here, and there's not a lot of other stuff. So
that's incredible.
It's an interesting balance, but there's definitely been some years that have been like, all right, we're just cooking and canning, and we'll do more school soon. But it doesn't have to be, again, within the school hours or the school norms of, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're finishing math through the summer because it didn't get done, and I don't know, it's all over the place. But they have a weird and wide education.
Yeah, oh, for sure. Do you see any of them taking over? Is that like a goal? Is that a legacy that you want to leave? Like, what does the future look like for them within the business?
We'll see.
You don't have to name
Jury's-
names.
Yeah,
The
no,
jury's
no.
still out.
The jury is still out. If they want it, absolutely. If they don't, we're not pushing it
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah. I don't ever want them to feel like they have to continue it or that they're stuck doing it. Our oldest has talked about it. He's pretty CEO-minded. He's always been interested in the business side of it. Our second loves high finance and accounting, etc. So I could see various pieces of it. Our daughter actually is the one. We have 3 boys and 1 girl, and she's the one more interested in the brewing side and the mechanics
Interesting.
of everything and working with our hands. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
We also warn them of dangers of working with family because that's hard.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we bought everyone else out in this building, in the ownership group, and a lot of them were family, and it's tough, and it's a
sticky.
real thing. You don't want to wreck any family
We
relationships.
still love each other
so-
now by the grace of God. We
Yeah.
can
Yeah,
sit across
it's-
from the Thanksgiving table
It's
and
been really
enjoy
good.
life
That's
But
together.
it
so.
also makes us tell the kids, like, well, maybe all 4 of you shouldn't try to own this together because that's hard. Like, I don't want their relationships to be wrecked with that. So we'll see.
Yeah, I agree. Do you mind, because this is something I noticed of you guys, and I don't talk about this much on the podcast, but how does faith, I mean, you don't have to talk about this if you don't want to, but you guys are really big into faith, and how has that influenced just your business sense? Has it, and if it does, what things do you take from your faith into your business?
You understand?
Sure, sure. I mean, owning a business is a dynamic experience, right? Like, stuff is rarely going the way you planned it. So it's really helpful to keep the mindset of, yep, God's in control.
Amen,
Right? Like,
brother.
I'm making my plan. This is where I think I'm going. Kind of hand it over to Him and say, if it matches your plan, great. If
Yeah.
not, give me the patience to say, okay, where are you leading me?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, the car driving through our
I was going to
storefront,
say.
right?
We both just were like, huh,
Oh, okay. Wasn't
All
on my
right.
plan, but
here we go.
it is what it is, right? And in that situation, right, we're thankful nobody got hurt.
Yeah.
None of the equipment really got damaged other than the doors and the
Right.
glass. And we didn't have a storefront for 6 months, but at the end of the day, well, I mean, so what,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I love that.
So, yeah, I mean, it doesn't mean that the hard times aren't hard, but you know that there's a foundation and an anchor there that
It's
kind of
not-
like, that's not shifting.
it's not everything that
Right.
there is. Right.
Right.
I dig that a lot.
So-
That doesn't mean the hard times aren't hard. But you have an anchor. I love that.
And this
Yeah.
has turned into what we didn't expect. Like, John actually had studied to be a pastor before engineering a
didn't know
long
that.
time ago. But we've always thought, like,
my
we want
path
to be
was really, really crooked.
circuitous, John.
Yeah. Yeah.
But this has turned into a very interesting ministry among staff and customers. Like, we're not in your face. We're not, like, naming beers Christian things only or, like, sticking with a theme. It's just
It's an
hopefully
opportunity to love people.
Hopefully, right. Hopefully, it's
Yeah.
just in what we do and how we treat our customers, how we treat our staff. They're watching our marriage and our parenting. Like, we're in a glass house here. Like, for sure, they can see all of that, and it's very real. And we've had many
And we
instances
don't
where
always get
people,
it right.
right. But there's instances where people are, they've now become parents and they come talk to us for advice and stuff because they've seen our kids grow up and how they respond and how they're not jerks, rebellious children.
fantastic.
Like, it's just, so it's hopefully we can just be a light and keep loving everyone. And
Boom.
yeah,
I love that. And it shows the way that people, surrounded you and were there for you when, you had that incident with the car is just evident of how you two are. I mean, and how people feel about you. That's awesome. I mean, business owners would love to have that. A lot of them. So I give you guys kudos. That's awesome. I'm going to pivot a little bit. Copper State. I never asked you, where did that name come from?
You get this one.
Okay. Well, so the coffee shop, my sister and brother-in-law originally, that were kind of the big impetus behind getting this started. They have Copper Rock Coffee Company. My brother-in-law used to ski on Copper Mountain in Colorado all the time. That's
Okay.
kind of where their name came from. And then we wanted something, we couldn't be the same, we didn't want the same name, but something kind of similar with the same decor, with the copper, and we found out that Wisconsin was historically the Copper State. So this area up through Oconto and all the way to the UP is the old copper complex. So they found a lot
I
of
did not know that.
found and float copper in this whole area.
But what
Yeah,
that
is
means
it-
is literally chunks of copper sitting on the ground before they didn't even have to mine it.
No
There's that
Or
way.
much
in,
copper,
in the
yeah.
water, in the lakes and stuff too.
Did you know that?
So before Arizona was a state, because now they're like, we're the Copper State.
Oh,
No, we
right.
were the OG Copper
OG.
State. So it just worked well with the logo and with the extra business that was going in. But
Wow. And so, talk a little bit about the artistic part of that. I love your labels. I love the way you label your cans. Who does that? Who comes up with that?
not me,
No.
not John.
It would be our daughter eventually. She's really
Okay.
into like super
Potentially, yeah.
creative, potentially. But at the moment, we've worked with a number of different designers.
Okay.
Yeah,
we
like
talked about
freelance.
Caleb, right?
Caleb did it for a while. Different freelance designers have helped doing that. I do all the words that come out of the building, and I do the descriptions and the names of the beers, but
social
I
media.
cannot draw at all. So that's someone else that does that.
Yeah, the logo was a local business in De Pere that we
I love
They
all
kind
of
them
of
with-
took us on as
yeah.
a fun pet project.
I love it.
So I think that Wild Blue, not to name drop it all, but
Yep.
they did a phenomenal job with our logo. We've gotten lots of compliments on that. So yeah, and it just, I mean, it's kind of a timeless color scheme, like black.
It
copper.
really is.
You don't ever really need to worry about that going out of style. On top of the fact that we've got kind of this rugged industrial feeling
Yeah.
building, so it tied into that nicely too. So
And for people who don't who aren't in the area, but like when I see it at like Piggly Wiggly, it pops out. Like I can tell that your can, I can just, it just shows, like it pops out in the beer aisle. Just for what it's worth, it does.
Details matter.
Yeah,
Details
it
matter.
does.
In
It
the
pops
building,
out.
Yeah, we try not to skimp on the important stuff.
Yeah. I want to talk about your 8-year anniversary. How did that go?
Yeah, we didn't do a
snuck
huge.
up on us and kind of snuck past us. Yeah, no.
Well, it was like right after the draft too, and then our son graduated, and we're like, we're not going to do a big party this year
Yeah.
for the anniversary, but probably for 10 we'll do something fun. But we did do a special beer release. You can talk about the beer part.
Yeah, we once upon a time did a old-fashioned brandy barrel-aged beer, and people loved it so much because this is Wisconsin.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the number one drink we sell at the bar is
The
an old-fashioned,
old-fashions,
whether
yeah.
it's brandy or whiskey.
Yeah.
We make a
sweet,
mean
sour,
old
right,
fashioned.
yeah.
We won a contest.
We've won. Yeah, we
once.
won a.
Did you
best,
really?
Best old-fashioned in Green Bay
Yeah.
Nuh-uh.
contest. Yeah.
Yeah.
They hosted at the Resch. Did too.
Yeah, they do a contest at the Resch. There are like 16 different bars that competed, and we won the old fashioned contest. So
That's cool.
Yeah. So we're a brewery, but we also serve
full bar and
full
yeah.
bar, coffee, food.
We just
the
try to
way,
do
so-
everything well. That's the main goal.
Just do it all.
Yeah.
So, that beer turned out, I mean, I think pretty close to an old fashioned for a beer.
Yeah. So there's like Door County cherries. There's
Is it darker?
sweet orange peel.
Nope.
No, it's a little lighter
lighter?
base,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
aged in brandy
Well,
barrels.
I'll have one after
For
after
sure.
we're done.
Yeah, we should do that.
Yeah. So 8 years. What if you could summarize the 8 years in just a sentence? What would it be? I wasn't going to go a word.
How about one word?
Okay.
and-
Okay.
I was gonna say. I I was going to say adventure. Adventure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here we go.
How about
A
this?
challenge, but very worth it. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. How about this? If you could name a beer after the 8 years, what would that beer name be? For everything you've learned over the 8 years.
Wild Ride.
Oh, that's a good one.
Are you a DJ? Yeah, no, I mean, it's ups and downs and lefts and rights and lots of high highs and low lows. And
This industry is at the same time just so incredibly hard and so incredibly rewarding. So, yeah, and it can all happen in the same day. It can be.
you know, you sit there and on a Friday and watch all your general patrons come in that you've seen for many, many years, and you get to say hi to all your friends, right?
Yeah.
That's my job.
Yeah.
Right. And then, you know, the days where something breaks.
Yeah, and then the
Yeah.
elevator breaks.
Yeah, because the elevator's 106 and it's broken, and so parts aren't on the shelf anymore, so you have to rebuild the old.
Yeah.
Right, so
How do you deal with that? If that's a good question. Just practically, how do you deal with
Well, we
something
hand
that's
loaded 300 plus cases and a bunch of kegs up the stairs the other day.
that was my
Where
second
that child
workout
labor
today.
comes in handy.
Yeah, I think you manage your expectations, right? I think that's probably what I've learned over the years too. Is if I come in and I expect the day to go perfectly smoothly, and then it's not, of course. If my expectation is here and this is where my day is, my disappointment is measured by the gap between
Yeah.
those two. But if my expectation is like, well,
Anything could happen.
anything could happen, right?
Here we
Like,
go.
The building's not on fire, so at least we got that going, right? No, I mean, there's so many moving parts. Whether it's, in this case, we have a full restaurant and a brewery.
Yeah.
So I've got all the equipment in the brew house, and I've got all the equipment in the restaurant, and there's lots of refrigeration and all that kind of stuff, and then the building itself, right? So all those things are potential points for, and you try and manage that, right? You try and stay on top of the maintenance, and you do that, but some stuff is old,
yeah.
right? So you just go, didn't see that one coming, but
yeah.
okay.
Is the elevator, was that one of the big things? Like, whoa, now what?
So it happened 2 years ago, same part.
Did it really?
The first part lasted 104 years. The second part lasted two. So that's a testament to how we
Yeah.
build things versus how they were built before.
100%.
It actually was a point of when we first started, we were going to replace the elevator and put in a new car, new whatever. And the replacement for the elevator was going to be as expensive as the entire rest of our build out. Because the elevators, are cheap.
It's not the same
So,
size as anything
yeah,
these
it's-
days, et cetera. Like,
Turns out 1919 they built cars the different sizes in different ways. So so we decided not to do that. Now, of course, hindsight, you go, boy, I probably could have built that at 2017 prices, which
Yeah.
would have been a third of what it is today.
but we
right?
didn't have
So
money in 2017.
We did not
so
have money in 2017. So
It is what it is.
so yeah, so we toyed around with different ways of getting around the elevator. It's cool. It's got the cool factor. It's old, but to move stuff up and down, to get beer out of the building, we have to go right through the restaurant space to the loading dock. In the wintertime when it's 10 below and you got to open the loading dock doors, try and get it done before service. But so we'd love to figure out a way to have a loading dock that we can go up a ramp from the basement to the dock instead of going up through an
Yeah.
elevator, right? If we can eliminate that pinch point, that'd be phenomenal.
Let's talk about the future. So what does the next 5 years look for you two, like in just in the business? Do you have ideas, goals? What would be a 5-year plan for you two?
Yeah, it used to be, like, kind of the original 5-year plan was second taproom location and more distribution. And the distribution these days in general, just for all craft beer, has kind of stagnated. So I'm not positive where we're going on that. And the second location still might happen, and yet I think only if
That's
from
difficult,
our
though.
perspective, like, we are fine with this. We don't want a ton of locations that we lose track of the people and we can't have the relationships with the staff and the customers like we do here. And like the extra headache of a whole nother restaurant, and I would need to adopt several more children, I think. But if there's like, we have some employees that we love and that we want to bless and keep here. So if we need to expand for them, that would be more the impetus, I think, there.
Right. So if I want for my brewer or our kitchen manager or somebody to be able to stay with us and grow, then the business needs to be a little bigger.
Yeah.
Right? So that would be the only reason. I wouldn't say the only reason, but the biggest reason probably to add pieces to the puzzle. If our kids wanted to stay in the business and we need to support their family as well, then we need to add some pieces to the business, whether it's this business in particular, or if we adapt and figure out some other way to do that.
In about 5 years is when our youngest will graduate.
And then we'll be empty nesters.
And then we'll see.
Empty
'Cause
nesters,
if we don't have, like, if we're not working together with our kids and some of their friends, like, there goes a lot of the fun that we have, I think.
Oh,
So
sure. I
there's
get
a part
that.
of us that goes, well, we'll see what
Yeah.
happens at that point. If none of the kids want it at that point and the kids are all moving out and on, and I don't know.
We got
We
5
shall
minutes
see.
left.
Maybe another adventure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's coming. You want to adopt 8 more kids or something? I mean, John, get ready. So we have 5 minutes left. I want to know the most, in your opinion, underrated beer that you serve. And that's probably bad, but a beer that you really like that is like, come on, guys, take this one.
I think the Platinum Blonde.
Platinum Blonde.
It's a
okay.
coffee stout. It's a lighter.
Oh.
but it's delicious. It's nitro.
Yeah.
It just
And-
doesn't get ordered as much, I think, as it should.
Yeah.
That one surprises people. I think they really like it once they order it, but not a lot of people are drawn to we kind of switched the name to a coffee cream ale to see if we could attract more to that, but it's still, I don't know. That one I think is underrated. You have a different answer?
I mean, it depends. I'm partial to the sour beers, so the beer I just had is actually.
Yeah, you crushed that, man.
Yeah, sorry. I mean,
You want some more of mine?
yeah,
I'm
that's typical. She's a real cheap date, so
date.
she's gonna have like a half a beer and.
I'll be
You know,
good for
3
like 3
hours.
days now.
But so the beer mosa, we drink a Dawn beer mosa Rodler. Just gone through iterations of names. I think is a fantastic beer that probably, when people have it, they're like, oh man, this is fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I know. Told
I'm
you.
only a little biased. The other one, to some of our lighter stuff that comes out actually, like the Kolsch, or we had a light lager that we did that we still have on tap called Pick Me.
Did it for the draft.
The Kolsch,
Okay.
the Kolsch in particular is probably one of the ones that I was most proud of early on when I was learning how to brew, because it's difficult to hide flaws in a
Yes.
very light beer.
100%.
And so we've had a couple patrons come in that travel from abroad or from Germany, and like, this is a Kolsch. Like, thanks. I appreciate that. Like, so, yeah, I'd say on the sour end, I really like this beer. On the lighter end, probably my Kolsch.
No, it's awesome. Missy, I heard there might be a Copper State Brewery, the book, coming.
For sure. Working title is Start a Brewery, they said. It'll be fun, they said.
I love that.
I'm not sure, but that might be it. Yeah, just kind of a half memoir, half what we've learned, some pointers on how to run a business, and some crazy stories involved. So, yeah, we'll see.
Coming soon, maybe?
It's a good question. I get
about
to work on it
halfway.
about once. I'm maybe,
It's about 100 pages in.
yeah, maybe.
Tell one story or one part of that book for a preview. Just one thing that people can find in that book that you want to tell. That only they could, all 2 of the people who watch and
All
listen
2.
to this will get.
Well, yeah, there's a whole chapter on brewery kids and what it was like raising our kids in a brewery. I was telling you before the story, we got sued by a crazy Ukrainian dishwasher. That's
That
going to be
one.
in there. Some of the staffing issues of like firing a kitchen, executive chef and the whole kitchen walking with them and
What?
we're taking their place type of a thing. That'll be in there.
What?
The story of our ghost, Gary. It's going to be in there.
Is it haunted?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so Every Halloween we've got the.
Did you hear something?
We make a beer. We make a beer
more
named
like,
Gary every Halloween to appease
right.
him. His name is Gary.
We haven't determined if it's a cow or if it's a person. Yeah.
Right, it's a meat packing plant, so it could be
Oh, yeah.
could be anything.
So every year we release our Gary barrel-aged beer.
Do you really?
Yeah. Glow in the dark wax seal.
Stop it.
Yeah. Gary.
Gary.
That is awesome.
So that's the
Gary.
story.
All right, you two. Thank you so much. Before we go, though, I want you to tell all the people where they can find you online, on all the social medias, and in town here. And your beer. Where can they find your beer if they're local?
I'll do the website stuff. You do the beer stuff. Yeah. Copperstate.beer is basically our website. Got a little blog on there, fun beer stuff. All the beer styles are linked through there through Untapped. So you can find all the beers. You can find the menu, all that stuff on copperstate.beer. We're on Facebook and Instagram. Those are the two that this old dog has learned.
On the book face, yes.
On the book face.
On the book face.
Fine. Copper State. I've not picked up the TikTok yet. I don't know. We'll see. And the beer?
And the beer, you can find it at any of the local grocery stores, Woodman's, Festival. We are also
Piggly Wiggly.
Piggly Wiggly, yep. Yeah. We are also at many of these establishments in Green Bay. We go all the way down to Fond du Lac, Sheboygan, Oshkosh, up through Door County and into just shy of the UP. So northeast Wisconsin, for sure.
Any, I'm sorry, I'm gonna go over it a little bit. Any like plans for like getting more out there, like just distributing more, or not really, because it's tough. You mentioned before, right?
Yeah, that market is hard, for sure. If you don't have people boots on the ground, kind of beating the drum for your brand, that even the distributors are kind of shy about picking up new brands these days. So.
And I was going to say it's different in Wisconsin. People don't realize. I can go into a whole thing about how distribution.
Tier system.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
It's definitely more of a local game for sure.
Yeah.
And your best margins are over your taps, and we can give people the experience we want to give them right here in our restaurant. So, I think our main goal is bring people in, connect the people, create the experiences.
Craft
Our
great,
mission.
great
It's our
beer.
mission statement.
Yeah.
So,
Love that.
so to do that, that's our first and foremost is to get people in the building and give them the experience we want to give them.
Please do. If you're in the Green Bay area, please look up Copper State. This place is awesome. The people are awesome. Missy and John, you two are awesome. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. You're awesome. T-Money, Tiernan, thank you for producing. All right. And we will see you all next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
It's gotta be against the law to look this damn good. Everybody watch out. Watch out now. I'm ready for a good time. And I came to groove the whole